The Garden State motto of New Jersey actually has to reference the vegetable garden that this state was built on.
I think of our amazing farmers markets and vegetables.
They're getting the tomatoes and corn and the staples of that, like New Jersey summer barbecue.
Squash, peppers, eggplants, peaches, and apples. I like a little bit of everything.
The Garden State, really, you think produce, but turns out that's not necessarily the whole story.
Trees and shrubs are what a consumer thinks of as nursery product. You could say we're more of horticulturalists here.
We grow houseplants and flowering annuals, and we also produce liners for other growers all over the U.S.
We cover the spectrum from little spring ephemerals up to big shade trees. We grow plant material for landscape contractors and landscape architects and government entities.
We grow a lot of shrubs, we grow trees, we grow some vines, and then we grow salt marsh plants too, which are mostly grasses.
We're growing lots of different seeds over here. We can blend them up into pollinator mixes, and they can be used to recreate habitats over large acreage of land.
We're growing parsley, not to be consumed by humans, but to be grown outdoors to be consumed by caterpillars, so that you can have swallowtail butterflies in your garden. So really, when you say you're a nursery, it means you're growing something ornamental.
I tell people that if you have a hard day, you just look at flowers and they make you happy.
What we're growing isn't going to go and nourish someone by sitting on their plate, but hopefully we can find a way that it's nourishing their body through a health reason, nourishing their soul.
Plants bring a sense of peace and pride.
As a nursery, we're really proud to really be keeping Garden State green in a lot of ways.
I am the 5th generation nurseryman in my family, and we are here at Pleasant Run Nursery in central New Jersey. My parents in particular are kind of plant collectors, and so it's a pretty eclectic mix of containerized plants for the wholesale trade. New York City has done a really great job of embracing and fostering public gardening. We were really lucky to be included in the list of growers that were approved for the High Line. Arguably one of the most important gardens, certainly in the country, if not the world.
I am the vice president of Center to Nursery. At the ripe young age of 44, my grandfather decided to buy this farm and sort of reinvent himself as like a 5th career.
My dad took over and really branched us into different marketing themes, and now we're 3rd generation.
My brother and my sister and I, we all have different interests. I kind of think of ourselves as the corners of a triangle, and we make sure that our corners are very well maintained. And when we need to, we meet in the middle to discuss things like capital expenditure. We sort of discuss that as a group.
Our oldest brother runs pretty much the outside of the farm, deals with every single issue and touches base with each manager. And then I'm in the office primarily. I work with our sales team. Bobby picks up new plants from vendors all over the world, really. We carry proven winners, perennials, and shrubs. We do a cool line of lavender because lavender is one of our top sellers across all the brands we carry.
Our product is all in fancy color pots and large labels, and they're built for retail. They're built to be eye-catching.
I'm from Pinelands Nursery, and we're a family-owned nursery started in 1983 by my parents. Since they've retired, my brother Steve and I have been running the nursery.
I have the great job of getting all the transplants from Pinelands Nursery and bringing them over to the farm, and I grow them out and collect the seed off the plant species. We have about 3 billion fewer birds now than we did in 1970. Our natural environment is kind of spiraling out of control, a lot of it due to man-made causes. There's a lot of invasive species, there's a lot of ornamental species. People are planting a lot of different plants from Asia and Europe, and they might look really pretty in their yards, but they're not very attractive for different pollinators and animals and resources. Native plants are the fundamental building blocks of our ecosystem. They attract insects, caterpillars, birds. They clean our water, they clean our air.
With our business, we're trying to restore a lot of what nature does for us because it's necessary. Shoreline restoration really picked up in like the late 90s and early 2000s. And then a big wake-up call to the Northeast was when Hurricane Sandy came. Seaside Heights was kind of the poster child of all the damage that happened from a hurricane. You have the roller coaster that fell into the ocean, the piers were destroyed, the houses, even relatively inland off of the beach, were getting destroyed or at least water damaged. And you go just south and you have a dune in front of a lot of those houses, and the damage was significantly less. And it really woke people up to saying, oh, having this green infrastructure, having that dune is really important because all of our really expensive stuff behind it can survive when you have that.
My husband George and I started this greenhouse in 1978 building, and we opened on April 1st of 1979, and we've been in the greenhouse business for 46 years.
Our logo is excellence is our standard. We really try to live by that. So we'll run January till about mid-April with liners heavy. And then starting about the early part of February, we're starting to plant our finished product. From our spring, we transfer right to a summer program. And then you get the fall, start with mums, and there's a whole bunch of other pansies and other things. And then it's Christmas time. We'll finish about 400,000 poinsettias, something like that. The nursery greenhouse industry is the #1 commodity group in agriculture.
Output in terms of revenue has grown to almost 50% of all agricultural revenue in the state.
It is a huge multi-billion dollar industry.
I can produce a lot of stuff in a small area, a whole lot of stuff.
Our revenue per acre would be significantly higher than what you're going to see on a conventional farm. If I was going to grow soybeans and I'm looking at maybe a few $100s an acre versus tens of thousands of dollars an acre in a nursery setting.
We can grow plant material that lives down in Alabama all the way to plant material that lives like up in Maine. You know, we've got a really good diversity in this kind of growing climate around here.
We're only about 25 miles out of Philly. We're not far out of New York, Long Island, any of those areas which are so densely populated, and right outside of Washington, D.C.
So you get a long growing season, access to water, and access to population. You put all those things together and it's a great spot to grow horticultural products. We do 70% of our sales in 8 weeks, the last week of March through the last week of May. And then after Memorial Day, schools start letting out. Less and less people are gardening at that time of year, therefore less and less people are shopping at garden centers.
One big challenge for us would be just weather on weekends. If there's a rainy Saturday, that independent garden center did not have a good weekend. Their Saturdays are what drives their business.
2 years ago in the fall, it rained almost every weekend all fall. We threw away, 30,000 mums or something. We threw away a lot of product. Last year, it never rained on a weekend, and we were out of product before the 1st of October. I can have perfect plants, it doesn't matter. It's weather.
You think about what you learn in grade school and it's like, well, to grow a plant, I need sun, I need water, and I need soil. If you aren't getting enough of one of those components, plants aren't going to grow well.
I'm always looking for how can we do this better? How can we make this easier? How can this be more efficient?
You know, when you grow a plant, you need this pot, you need this label, you need this much soil. It should be started from this size input, and it takes so many weeks to grow it and takes up so much square footage. That used to be on a spreadsheet, now it's in a software program. So it's keeping track of data because you got 1,600 different plants and they all grow a little bit different.
If you look at our tags, it'll tell you this is good for butterflies, this is good for bees. Some of the plants are even good for certain birds.
I love that concept of someone buying a plant and having it in their yard, not even realizing how much it's giving back to all the rest of the food web, all the rest of the planet.
Even in the middle of a concrete jungle, if you had some echinacea and some mountain mint, the bees would find it and the birds would find it.
Most of these greenhouses are made out of 4mm tempered glass. We have natural ventilation to try to save on power. It's mostly all heated concrete floors. We are able to collect and reuse all of our water. We have boom irrigation, flood irrigation, but everything is pretty much computerized, mechanized.
Everything has drip irrigation overhead, and it's on timer so that it's run by computer. If it's too bright, it will pull the shade so that it will filter your sunlight that comes in so your plants underneath won't sunburn. And in the wintertime, it also works as a heat retention. All kinds of good things going on in the greenhouse.
It's really nice to go to a meeting or go to a dinner or go to an Ag Society event and sit down with my friend who grows vegetables or my friend who grows commodity crops and share our stories, share our troubles, complain about the weather, complain about the price of gas, because we all have that in common.
It's great when we do get in one room, you'll have 3 nurseries, 2 tomato growers, 4 guys growing hay and forage, you name it, and they're there. And they all have the common goal of how do we keep agriculture in New Jersey viable?
We're all in this together, so if one piece of the puzzle falls, then we all do.
We could make a living doing all kinds of things. I could make more money if I was working in a different industry, but I wouldn't have the same passion for it as I do growing plants.
To have my children as part of the business is everything to me. We never made our kids work in the greenhouse. We wanted them to want to be here. If you don't have passion about what you're doing, you will not love to do it and you will not keep it up. You will not stay into it.
We're really hoping to grow the nursery, pass on this legacy to our kids.
Get a lot of pleasure in that someday the next generation can take over and do it.
There's people buying our plants, and I'll drive around. I've got a neighbor that bought them, and I see them set up where they want to place them in their yard. And it's still gives me such an amazing feeling that someone's actually wanted to get our product, that we put so much thought and effort and put our name on. There's a big sense of pride there.
I can go to bed at night realizing, okay, I made a difference today. I did something that made the world a better place, despite all the other things that are making it worse in some way. I think I'm offsetting some of that with what I do for a living.
It's a pretty sweet deal. I really am really lucky to be here.
I didn't realize how rewarding it would be feeding the world outside of humans in a way. Growing plants that are giving back so much to the environment.